You might know him as the nutrition myth buster. We know him as Dr. Johnny Bowden, and he has another book coming out. I've lost track. How many books have you had now?
There's 15.
15! Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, so now the one that's coming out in October, we're talking about cholesterol, the great cholesterol myth. You already did this book, but this is like a revamp, a 2020 redo.
It's 10 years since we wrote the book that said basically we're worrying about the wrong thing when it comes to heart disease and saturated fat is not the problem. 10 years more research. So we rewrote that book, brought it up to date, and have even more powerful evidence that saturated fat is not a problem in our diet, and cholesterol certainly isn't a problem in our diet. And what we should be working on in terms of preventing heart disease is some very different things, and we talk about that in the book. And I'll talk about it a little now if you want.
I was going to say, I see that you've got some olive oil, you've got apple.
No, I have Malaysian palm oil. Very big difference.
Oh, tell me the difference.
Well, I brought along foods that come into the category of what I like to call the Johnny Bowden 4 food groups. Food you could have hunted, fished, gathered, or plucked. Now, obviously, we're not going to go out hunting for our food, but we can do the kind of tech modern version of that and buy in the grocery stores those foods that are minimally processed and that your great-grandmother would have recognized as food. Now, Malaysian palm oil. Olive oil, by the way, great oil. Don't get me wrong at all. But this is a different one, and it's one people don't understand as well because, yes, it has some saturated fat. Who cares? You know why it's red? Because it's loaded with tocotrienols and carotenoids like beta-carotene that make it so healthy for the brain and for the heart. And it doesn't contribute to inflammation, and it's sustainable. So this is another oil to consider. I would actually cook at higher heat with Malaysian palm oil than I would with olive oil. I keep olive oil very, very low, especially extra virgin, because you paid all that money so that it wasn't processed with heat. Palm oil also is processed sustainably. It's a very, very good oil. So if you start eating from these kinds of food groups, you don't need to worry about cholesterol in the diet or even saturated fat, because this stuff will help you stay healthy and reduce the risk of heart disease. And that's what we care about, not lowering cholesterol. Stop this crazy obsession we've had since the 1960s about good and bad cholesterol. That test is out of date. It doesn't even measure what we now know is in the blood. And we're driving ourselves crazy eating those comfort foods because we're trying to avoid healthy fats like Malaysian palm oil and butter and eggs and all the good stuff that actually helps us be healthy.
You know what? I love that this is happening now because so many of us really during quarantine, during lockdown, we went to those comfort foods. I mean, the mac and cheese and the high processed and the stuff that makes you feel you're eating your feelings. So this is an opportunity.
That's great.
It's true. It's an opportunity to get back on that train and really start to take care of your health from the inside out. We can't wait.